So, what can happen in just one day? Well, it turns out a whole lot, especially if that day is April 17th. We're going to unpack how this single date connects, get this, founding fathers, nail-biting space missions, and massive cultural revolutions. It's a day that really proves history isn't neat and tidy, it's all happening at once.
So, what if one day really held the key to genius, survival, and revolution? What if history isn't this clean, straight line we learn about in textbooks, but more like a chaotic collision of stories all unfolding at the same time? Well, when you zoom in on April 17th, that's exactly what you find. It's this incredible day that ties together these amazing threads of pure genius, high-stakes survival, and just radical, world-altering change.
All right, so let's dive right in. We're going to start with two figures who, in totally different ways, pretty much laid the groundwork for the United States as we know it. One of them shaped its very ideas, and the other, well, he built its entire financial system.
Okay, so on one hand, you've got Benjamin Franklin. The guy was a statesman, a scientist, a true architect of the nation's whole character. And then on the other hand, J.P. Morgan, the powerhouse banker who literally built the modern American economy from the ground up. And what's wild is that April 17th is the day that connects the very end of one's life with the very beginning of the other's.
So, on April 17, 1790, the great Benjamin Franklin passed away in Philadelphia. He was 84 years old. And his legacy, wow. It shaped everything from our basic understanding of electricity to the actual Declaration of Independence. Just a monumental end to an absolutely monumental life.
Okay, now fast forward almost half a century later to the very same day, April 17, 1837. John Pierpont Morgan is born. This is the man who would grow up to be the most powerful financier in American history, building these massive corporate empires like General Electric and AT&T. So you see what's happening here, right? As one absolutely foundational era came to a close, another was just getting started. All right, let's shift gears. We're moving from the minds that built America to moments of pure high-stakes drama, because April 17th also marks these incredible missions where, and I'm not exaggerating, the fate of the world, or at the very least the lives of everyone involved, was hanging by a thread.
This quote, one of the most incredible, successful failures in history. Man, it just perfectly captures the story of Apollo 13. We're talking about a mission that went catastrophically wrong. Horribly wrong. But somehow ended in this miraculous triumph of human ingenuity. And what's so amazing is how they managed to pull it off.
200,000 miles. Just try to picture that. That is how far from home the Apollo 13 astronauts were when an oxygen tank just exploded. It crippled their spacecraft. Their desperate struggle to get back, using maneuvers they'd never even tested, and just pure, sheer will, it had the entire world glued to the radios, just holding its breath.
Okay, now let's go from the vacuum of outer space to a secret war right here on the ground. We're talking 1945. A top-secret U.S. team in Germany manages to seize 1,100 pounds of uranium. Now, this wasn't just some random seizure. Oh no. This was a desperate, nail-biting race to stop the Soviet Union from getting their hands on the raw materials for an atomic bomb.
Just look at the sheer intensity packed into this one day across the decades. On April 17th, you've got this secret atomic mission in 45. Then you've got the start of the infamous, ill-fated Bay of Pigs invasion in 61. And then the miraculous safe return of the Apollo 13 crew in 70. 3 incredibly high-risk operations, and every single one had world-altering consequences.
All right, let's pivot again, this time to something a little lighter, but honestly, no less impactful. April 17th also delivered these moments that just completely redefined American culture. Everything from the cars we drive to the sports we watch.
22,000. Get your head around that number. That's how many Ford Mustangs were sold on the very first day it was unveiled at the 1964 World's Fair. It wasn't just a car launch, it was literally the birth of an American icon.
And then, just 2 years after that, in 1966, history was made in the NBA. The absolute legend, Bill Russell, was named player-coach of the Boston Celtics. This was a huge deal. He was the first black head coach in any major U.S. pro sports league, breaking this massive barrier. And here's the kicker. He didn't just coach, he went on to win 2 championships while playing and coaching at the same time. Just incredible.
And okay, for a little dose of pop culture endurance, on this day in 2002, the soap opera General Hospital aired its 10,000th episode. That milestone cemented its place as the longest-running TV program ever produced in Hollywood. Can you even imagine 10,000 episodes?
But, you know, history isn't all about breakthroughs and feel-good triumphs. To get the full picture, we have to look at the shadows, too. And April 17th, well, it also holds some darker, much more complex legacies.
On this day in 1941, for example, Yugoslavia surrendered to Nazi Germany, a really grim milestone that sealed the fate of an entire nation in World War II. Then you jump forward a few decades to 1989, and April 17th marks the beginning of the student-led pro-democracy protests in Tiananmen Square. What started as this hopeful, peaceful movement for freedom would, of course, tragically end in bloodshed. These are the kinds of moments that remind us that a single day can hold both profound light and the absolute deepest of shadows.
So, when you step back and pull it all together, what does this one day, April 17th, really show us? It's like a perfect cross-section of the entire human experience. You've got genius and innovation from people like Franklin. You have that raw, primal instinct for survival you see in the Apollo 13 story. You've got these huge cultural revolutions with the Mustang and Bill Russell. And of course, you have these major political turning points that completely reshaped entire nations.
And all of that leaves us with one final question, right? From a founding father's death, to the birth of a muscle car, to a near disaster in space, which of these moments truly changed the world the most? I mean, the answer is going to be totally different depending on who you ask and what you value most. Is it science, finance, freedom, culture? It's just this perfect reminder that history isn't one single story. It's a million different stories, all happening at the exact same time.